Welcome to Speed Scene Live TV, the only show dedicated to the sportsman racer. Brought to you by Curry Rear Ends, Hedman Hustler Headers, M&H Tires, and TheFote.com. With your hosts, Diana Might, Bruce Barker, Scott Lucky Hudson, Alex Rogio, Bob Beck, Bryant Layton, with Donnie Couch and Dar Hawthorne.
Well, looky here. Here we go at another free-for-all right here at Speed Scene Live. I'm Bruce Barker. There's Diana Might.
Welcome.
And there's Lucky Hudson.
Hey, here we are.
Also with the Great American Auto Scene, I'm sure we'll have details soon, is Hot Rod Bob Beck.
Yep.
All right. Hey, look at this. There's so much to get talking about and so much to see, so many places to go. We're going to do it right now. For instance, tonight, we're going to talk about the future of racing and gearheads. We had a long chat right before the show. We'll get into some of that as we progress through tonight's show. Gene from Vocademy. Vocademy is short for Vocational Academy. He's going to fill us in on all the news about this Vocademy thing here.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good one, too, something that he's very passionate about, and I'm really happy to hear that he's doing it. Now, I've been telling people a lot about this great race up at the Woodburn Drag Strip. By the way, you are looking at some great footage from the Great Bend Speed Scene Live National. See this car right here?
Oh, that's a nice car, Lucky.
This guy doubled up. He won 2 races that weekend, got a $1,000 extra bonus at the
Double
Speed
trouble.
Scene Live Nationals. Hey, I've been telling you about the 10-5 race, July 26th and 27th up at Woodburn, Oregon. It's $10,000, goes to the last man. It's free entry. If you
Free? You don't have to pay to get in?
You don't pay to get in. If you pre-enter, you are entered for free.
How many races are there like that out there, Lucky?
Just this one.
Huh?
This is the only one. But you know, this is money. All this $10,000 came from racers' pockets. They all put together money, and now they're saying, you know, wouldn't it be great if we could offer some bonuses for like number 1 qualifier, fastest car, you know, different things like that. And they're asking me to put the word out if there's a company out there that would love some exposure, and of course we'll mention you here right on Speed Scene Live TV. But if you would like to get in touch with them, you can go ahead and get a hold of Woodburn or get a hold of us. We'll put you in charge of Greg, and he's looking for some companies that want some exposure and would like to help sponsor the race.
Wow. You know, it sounds like a wonderful race. It's all about the racers. They're the ones putting up the money, and last man standing is going to be winning. Next week, well, we're going to have Camel Man from 1320 Extreme. I know.
Man.
I love saying that name. He's going to tell us all about the Virginia Street Outlaws. They're going to be racing August 17th and making a list of the top 10 Virginia Street Outlaw drag racers. Sounds like they're up to something, Lucky.
Well, you know that show on the Discovery Channel
I
about
do.
the Oklahoma drag racers, real popular show, a lot of
Sure.
fun to watch. These guys are saying, hey, man, we're going to make our list, and then we're going to call out all 10 of those people on that list because they say Virginia can kick Oklahoma's butt. What do you guys think?
Oh, that's how it works. They're going to make that list and check it twice.
That's right. So a lot of fun. You know, there's a little bit of drama, talking, a little bit of stuff happening. But anytime I see a show about drag racing on TV, I'm happy. What do you think, Bob?
Well, you know, I think it's going to be great, and drag racing on TV is fantastic. But, you know, tonight we're going to give you a little bit of gas. I'm going to spread it out thin for you, and we're going to talk about some stuff. We don't have your God Bypass tonight because Bryant Layton's taking the night off. He's on assignment, so he's not going to be with us. Andrew is getting ready for their Summer Nationals, August 23rd through the 25th. And we'd love for racers to start showing us their cell phone photos, even of your golf cart. And don't forget, Speedway Industry Hills this Wednesday night. I'm going to be out there with Donnie Couch, the Couchmeister, and we're going to be watching some great motorcycle racing action. But those cell phone pictures, come on, we got to see something.
What do you think, Bruce?
You think we can do that, Bruce?
You know, people have sent in a lot of cars, but tonight, how about we show some of the golf carts?
Yeah.
Of the
there's
racers?
some extreme golf carts out there,
Yes,
Lucky. Trust
There
me.
are.
Welcome
In fact,
to Golf Cart Extreme.
Whoa.
this is my favorite golf cart
yeah,
of
yeah.
all time.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Well, I love the Curry sticker, but I really love the fact that he put jacks so that he can jack the golf cart up and see the racing.
Right, he's above the crowd.
Yeah,
We
there
see
you
him
go.
out at all the NHRA events. He's always out there, and he has the best seat in the house.
And notice what's on the roof, of course.
Yeah.
Just scooping up a bunch of air. I don't know what it's doing with it, but
Well, and then there's
bug
two
catcher.
back seats up above.
yeah.
So your buddies can ride in the back and look over the top, and I think the top makes a nice... Hey, wait, go back one more. Go back to that, because, Bruce, show the first photo of this golf cart. I want to let people know that this car has a Curry rear end
Look
in
at
it.
that.
dang.
Is that awesome or what?
Yes.
Holy
so,
cow.
Now, the next golf cart you have on tap, that belongs to the vice president of K&N Filters. And this was an old golf cart that they redid, and they
Air
put
ride.
they put air ride on it so they can drop it. Drop it like it's hot, brother.
Oh, baby.
It looks a bit like the Chevrolet crossed flags.
Oh,
on
what
the,
a crack
on the
up.
hood,
Look
too.
at
I'm
that.
not sure.
Yeah,
Does it have the
Corvette,
little
yeah.
toggle switch where it goes zit, 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 zit?
I think it does.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
think it does. I didn't catch it in action,
Little
because
scraper plate?
this
Yeah.
was a cell phone photo, and I used my own cell phone, but I wanted to show this just because it's got that cool 50s, 60s style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's totally hot rodded out. It's got the back seat, the cool rims, and that airbag. You gotta love the airbag on
Oh,
the
yeah.
golf cart, man.
Reminds you of a
Nicely
girl I
done.
used to go out with.
The airbags?
Yeah.
Yeah, low.
Oh, yeah, very much. so.
Well, anyway, tonight I would like
Okay.
I would like to welcome Gene Sherman. Gene, you are in charge of Academy. Welcome to Speed Scene Live.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to spending the hour with you.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Vocademy. What exactly is it? Tell us
What does it
quickly.
stand for?
What is it?
It's the place anyone can go to learn and make anything. I'm bringing back shop class. Any age, you want to come to me, I'm going to teach you wood shop, metal shop, sewing, welding, fab. It's like a gym, but instead of treadmills and weights, we have machines and tools and instructors to teach you how to use them.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah,
you know,
me
I could
too.
I could work out on the car.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, we're going to talk to Gene tonight. We're going to find out all about it. If you want to bookmark his website, it's vocademy.com. But meanwhile, North Star Dragway out in Texas, just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's a great track called North Star Dragway, and they've got some great pro mod racing.
Oh.
Dynamite, I think you might have a caller.
I do. Let's go to line one and welcome Chris Graves. Chris, welcome to Speed Scene Live.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for calling in, Chris. You have you're a great photographer, fantastic work. I've got one of your photos hanging on my wall, man. You are really good. But you've been promoting a race out at North Star. Tell us a little bit about that event.
Yeah, it's the Pro Mod Fuel Altered Showdown. And basically I just kind of copied an idea that back about 10 years ago we had the Outlaw Fuel Altereds and the Outlaw Pro Mods here in Texas go up head-to-head at a track down in Sealy, Texas. And, Frankie, that was like Mitch King and Frankie Taylor and all these guys were there back before they were famous, and it kind of went away. And I had put it on paper for several other tracks to kind of look at, and I never really got any bites. And Gene Nicodemus, the new owner here at North Star, he didn't bat an eye, man. He was like, let's do it. This sounds great. So this year we brought it back, and it was a really good event. And we packed the house, and there was a lot of quick cars, and we had 35 cars here qualifying for 16 spots, and 16 Pro Mods and 19 Fuel Altereds all came to see what they could do, man. It was a lot of fun.
Well, Diana Might and I visited the North Star track a couple years ago for 4th of July weekend and saw the Outlaw Fuel Altereds race. And, man, we had a great time. That's a great facility. You guys actually put Pro Mods against Fuel Altereds.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but, it's kind of the two of the best shows in our area as far as the heads-up outlaw scene goes. And several, the groups run several times a year around here. And I thought, well, man, these guys need to be running each other because they run basically the same ETs. The Fuel Altereds might be a little quicker, but the Pro Mods are usually quicker on the tree. So I thought it would be a fair battle, and it was a pretty good show, man. A Fuel Altered ended up winning. Kevin Kinsley was driving the Nitro Junkie Fuel Altered owned by Roger Hennon, and he won it in the final round. But it was a really good event, and I know you need to come back, man, because old Doodad wants to see you, man.
Oh, man, I miss Doodad. He was a great guy. Loved talking to him, and a lot of great racers out there. Rich Howell is one of the racers that frequents that track, and you know what? I know that even your fiancée Tara races out there with her blown dragster, right?
Yeah. She finally got her car back on the track this weekend, and we got a little match race coming up in a couple weeks. I may get to run against her, and we'll see how that goes.
Oh, you better not do that. You know that couples aren't supposed to race against each other.
Hey, we've got a video right here. It's a short video by Jake Simmons. It's the second quickest and fastest pass in Outlaw fuel-altered history.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this is Howard Ferris and War Wagon Outlaw Fuel Altered, and crew chief Mitch King was helping him out a little bit, and 9 at 212.
Wow.
And actually, he lost that round on a hole shot to Donnie Nasty, who went to the final.
Wow.
But that pass was just insane. Two nitro burning fuel altered side by side. It's hard to beat.
369. What distance are they running?
That's the 8th mile.
8th mile. Okay.
8th mile. That is screaming fast. It's kind of like John Force and those guys. 8th mile.
Yeah.
Same thing,
Well,
more or less.
You're so bad, Lucky.
Oh, Jay. Well, Chris, man, I want to let people know that if they want to check out your website, go to maxcacklephotos.com, and if they see you at the track, and if you come up or Tara comes up and says, hey, we got some photos, stop and talk and take a look and see what they have, because I'm telling you, these are two of the most talented photographers around, and you guys really know your stuff. You got great photos. You catch it at the tracks, and heck, you're even out of Bowling Green when I was out there last time.
Hey, man, you're doing those big sideways nasty burnouts, man. It's hard for me not to keep my camera on you.
Yeah, well, I would win some more rounds if I wasn't a little more if I was a little less wild in the burnout box. But we'll find that balance. It's in there somewhere,
I hear you. Well, hey, man, next 4th of July weekend, we're going to do it again. If you guys aren't doing anything, you ought to come out.
Well, I'm going to keep that in mind, and, I love Texas drag racing. People like Doodad, the people at drag racing are great. The young lady that drives the Grim Reaper fuel altered.
Mary Reap, yep.
Yep, she's very, very nice people, her and her husband, and so many wonderful racers in Texas. So, hey, if you're talking drag racing, what's the word, utopia? Man, that's Texas right there.
There you got it, man.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Talk to you later.
Hey, no problem, guys. Thanks for the time.
Bye-bye.
Once again, you can check him out at maxcacklephotos.com. Hey, Gene, pretty cool photos, huh? Pretty neat cars.
Very cool. I love anything with a motor, anything that's mechanically built. And you have those pictures of the golf carts earlier. I'm telling you, I'd like to be the place where people start building those.
Well, it's funny you say that, because you are the place where people can start doing that. You're actually, what's your tagline? A place to learn and
make anything.
Make anything.
Correct.
Golf carts, race cars, hot rods. Now, tell us a little bit about what you got going on, because you're sort of a multifaceted situation. You're a place where people can learn, but you're also a place where people can come and just do stuff.
Correct. That's exactly it. So the way to describe it is literally like a gym. You swipe your card, you go in, you have access to 15,000 square feet of what I call paradise. If it's an industrial art, we want to have that piece of equipment, that tool. Anything from 3D printers to CAD to a full machine shop, wood shop. Not auto bays quite yet, but we'll have motorcycle lifts, so the golf carts would fit nicely. We're still working with the insurance people about how to get a full-size vehicle in there. But the idea is, you come in, you walk into the place and say, hey, I want to learn how to use a milling machine to make a part I've always wanted to make. There's a class available. And unlike a normal school, we don't have a set curriculum. You can take your classes in and out of order. You can take them on nights and weekends. And then after you learn the differences when a school done teaching you, they kick you out. We say keep coming back and using our facility.
So you've got a guy who's trying to learn how to weld up a chassis. He comes to you and says, I've never touched a welder. What do they look like?
Well, I hope there's not guys out there that would actually say that, Bob.
Well, they may not say what they look
I mean,
like,
even women know what a welder looks like.
I hope so. Well, some do. But so a guy walks in there and he's working on it. He wants to learn how to work on the chassis of his car. He wants to weld components on. What do you teach him? What do you teach him on?
Very easy. He becomes a member anywhere from 3 months to a year plus, and then he takes the class. Realistically, to give you an example, I always use MIG welding. We're not after making certified welders. We want to teach a guy in about 4 hours the basics of MIG welding, and I think we can do it in 4 hours. And then beyond that, he brings in his project, or he sees someone working on a project they want to get involved with, and he joins in, and he gets practice. Show up, pay for the raw material, supply yourself, and there's always guys like me around that know what they're doing to help you out if you get stuck. That's the idea.
You say you know what you're doing. What was your background?
My background, I grew up in my father's shop. So college was never a alternative for me. I grew up in my dad's shop, a machine shop. I got really good at making things. I've been lucky enough, fortunate enough to where I've visited almost 400 manufacturing companies. So I've seen how just about everything is done, how it's built, and enough of my own experience breaking things. And that's how you get your wisdom on how do things work. And coming out of a university just recently, I've realized that we're making a lot of engineers that have never turned a screwdriver.
Well, and you mentioned, you know, the school situation. A lot of schools are cutting back and eliminating all these vocational classes. So you're actually filling a void that's been kind of created by the schools not budgeting these classes.
Absolutely, and they don't seem to have any intention on bringing back shop classes. The expense, the lack of teachers is really keeping them from bringing back these classes, and honestly, they're all worried about getting kids ready for college. I'm actually worried about, number one, the kids coming out of high school, give them some basic skills so they can get something better than burger flipping skills. But then again, here are the engineering students that I'm icing on their engineering degree.
Well, it sounds like you're actually getting people ready for life, not just a job, but getting them ready for life. There's going to be right now a whole generation of kids, and I'm saying kids from the age of maybe 16 to maybe 30, that have no idea how to change the oil in their car. They have no idea how to change a flat tire. I mean, just the basics, little things that, you know, we were taught by our parents when we were 16 and first started driving. They have no idea how to do that. All they do is they get on their cell phone and they call their mom or their dad, or AAA, which thank goodness it is around. But, you know, what if they don't have phone service? What if they have to do it for themselves? This is a perfect example of how to get that training.
You know, Dynamite, that's a good case. In fact, I remember when my sister moved here, and this was years ago now, and we all came from up north where things are a little, you know, harsher, and you got to learn how to do things with your car, and of course we drove just junker cars, so you always had to learn how to work on something.
Absolutely.
But she was stunned at, you know, she would have a dead battery in her little 65 Mustang or something, which again, it was a junker. But it's still driving around. Darn thing out 20 years later. But anyway, she couldn't get a jump from, you know, she would ask some of her guy friends, and she couldn't get a jump start.
Nobody had jumper cables in their trunk, you know. I would never drive around without jumper cables when I was younger. And, you know, I can remember one time driving my little 64 GMC handy van, and all of a sudden it just died on me. And I'm like, what the heck? So it has the little engine compartment right inside. I picked it up. I checked the linkage. The little clamp had come loose. I had a bobby pin. Hooked it up, started it up, drove it the rest of the way. And, you know, and I drove it like that for quite a while, and it wasn't an issue. The bobby pin worked.
Miss MacGyver.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you know, the need to know how to do things is paramount. You've got to know how to do
how
stuff.
things work.
And if you know how to change the spark plugs, you might be able to figure out how to change something else. Or, you know, a lot of the stuff that you learn. Now, Gene, I'm talking to people on thefote.com. You notice my T-shirt here, the Fote Motor Community. Ooh, that feels good.
Nice.
I'm also wearing Fote underwear, Diana. If you'd like to feel that.
Keep dreaming.
Anyway, here's what somebody said on thefote.com. Vocademy sounds like a hobby shop with built-in experts at one's beck and call. What do you think, Gene?
That's exactly right. You know, I tell you what, I want the guy at 60 years old that just retired and has been a closet woodworker his whole life. But then also, I want to have classes by women for women. You don't realize how empowering it is not to have to count on a man to do whatever it is you need to do at home. Not get taken to the bank by a plumber, knowing that you can use your own tools. And people don't realize that everything we teach you in the long run will pay back tenfold, because if we save you $1 by you fixing something yourself, that's money in your bank.
And you know, Dynamite was talking about kids not knowing how to do stuff. You know, a lot of single mothers, guys that are widowed, that have time on their hands, that want something to do, that, like you said, always wanted to do woodworking. Or, you know, I took a lot of ROP classes because I wanted to learn stuff about cars, and my dad knew nothing about cars. But you know what? I learned a lot of stuff, met some great people. I had some people that showed me a lot of stuff, and man, it was really good. You know, Gene, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk some more to you, and of course, we've got Bob's Gas coming up after this. So stay tuned if you dare.
The Big Schwag hosts the Pastime Monster Garage. They say they got fast cars in Virginia. Well, come prove it. August August 17th. Where? Colonial Beach Dragway. The Virginia Street Outlaws will be looking for the 10 fastest street cars in Virginia. Is that you? No track prep, no tire prep, tags and insurance, Virginia license and lights required. Everything else go. Everything else goes. We'll make it up on the 18th if we get a rainy day. Gates open at 8 a.m., first pass at 9 a.m., $25 it costs to enter, $15 for a spectator. It's a no-time race, folks. I'm the big Schwag. You better be there.
For over half a century, Currie rear-end components have been twisting out the torque and taking the punishment. And the new Currie lineup is stronger than ever. Some of the world's most capable, hardest-working vehicles depend on Currie gears, which is why you can too. Street cars, hot rods and resto rods, drag cars, rock-crawling four-wheel drive vehicles, whatever you're piloting, Currie expertise and rock-solid design means the parts will do their job, so you can do yours. Check out Currie's custom rear ends, featuring a full line of upgrades, components, and installation options. The Currie Crate rear ends lineup offers ultra-strong construction on third members and carrier assemblies. And other underside parts like correct link steering systems keep your four-wheeler pointed where you want it. Add in a wide variety of solid purpose-built suspension and brake components, and you've got one tough, ready-to-go machine. Grab a hold of a Currie rear end. Talk to the experts at 714-367-2679 or view the complete line online at CurrieEnterprises.com.
Hey, this is Rockin' Rob on Speed Seed Live. Look out, Orlando.
Welcome back to more of Speed Scene Live, the #1 online drag racing TV show. Brought to you by Currie Rear Ends, M&H Tires, Hedman Hustler Headers, and TheFote.com.
Welcome back to the show. My name is Lucky, and I am Jack approved. Yeah. Hey, this is Diana Might over here. She's double Jack.
Am I Jack approved too, Lucky?
Yeah, you know, if you ask Jack, maybe he'll send you a couple stickers. Bruce Barker over there, Hot Rod Bob Beck, and we've got Gene over here from Vocademy. Gene, let me ask you this. We're talking a lot of great stuff here. We're talking about a great concept, but you actually have a lot of these machines. You have a place to do all this. This is something that's already going, right?
Well, not quite yet. For the past couple of years, I've been teaching shop class in my own little 1,500 square foot shop behind my home. And now we did what's something called a crowdfunding campaign where we raised over $60,000 from people who believed in my product on a 15,000 square foot building.
Wow.
So over the next 2 months, we're moving in the $60,000 of equipment that I have, and then I'm going to go out there and actively looking for equipment manufacturers to make deals with, looking for sponsorship, looking for investors. This is just a startup with a grand idea, but with a tremendous amount of support.
So this is a great place. Let's say there's a welder. Let's say there's a welding company, Lincoln Electric, and you have 20 Lincoln Electric welders in your shop, and everybody that comes in learns how to weld on Lincoln Electric welders.
What do you think they're going to go out and buy, Lucky?
That's right.
Whatever they're comfortable with utilizing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, smart deal.
So this would be a great opportunity for a company to not only get exposure, to get future client base, but they could probably donate it and it'd be a write-off.
You know, they've got district managers, too, that travel around and train clients. When they have a distributor that sells one of those welders, they go out and train the people that it's sold to. Why not set it up to have a whole classroom of people instead of just one person?
Oh, wow.
Well, absolutely. We've been approached by several companies to train their employees because a lot of their employees never had shop skills taught to them. And as far as, let's say, using welding as an example, the idea is if a kid goes to a welding school, he's going to go to work for someone who already has a welding machine. The hundreds of people I'm going to expose that piece of equipment to are people that might potentially buy a machine for themselves or come up with a new product and need to buy their own welder for their own company, which brand are they going to be leaning toward? Is the ones that
They're
partner up with
comfortable
me.
using. Yeah, they're comfortable using.
Now,
Absolutely.
a couple of the machines that you've mentioned are 3D scanners and 3D printers, which are mega expensive and really cool machines.
Correct.
And what would you? I mean, I can think of a bunch of things, but is there a possibility that at some point in time you'll be teaching kids and adults how to use these tools?
Oh, absolutely. 3D printing is huge right now. Everyone's talking about it. But what they're not talking about is the fact that when you buy a 3D printer right now, if you can afford one, they're several $1,000s, you're printing someone else's photos. You're printing someone else's designs. No one's teaching people CAD, computer-aided design, to create their own ideas. Whether it be a part to a car, or I was part of a project where we 3D printed a fuel-injected carburetor, and it lasted for about 30 minutes on the car, so they did testing.
Wow.
Before it started to get a little soft and started melting. So this is the future, and we're going to have a bunch of these machines, and we're going to teach you how to make that printer your machine, not to print just something you found on the internet.
Now, you're currently located in Riverside, California, but you're hoping to be able to open multiple locations in different areas.
Absolutely. Our business plan has about a dozen locations all over Southern California. We feel that if there's enough schools and people around an area, we want to be there. Orange County, the Valley, Burbank. There's enough people there that would love an opportunity to come on a Friday night, hang with their friends, and just build whatever they ever desired.
So you do have a business plan. So if somebody was interested in, say, investing, you could show them that business plan, right?
Absolutely. And some people have said it's a work of art. I was hoping it just wasn't a horror story. So.
Well, we're going to get into Bob's Gas, but before we do, Donnie Couch was out talking to the Walker Racing team at Pomona for the NMCA West event. Let's see what Walker Racing had to say.
Hey, NMCA, Pomona, California. Randy Walker, so far, #1 qualifier out of the first session. Randy, how you feeling about that?
Oh, I think we just kind of got a lucky hit. We had a little problem with the clutch on that run, but I think we should be able to run a lot better this next run. That #1 spot that we ran that one, it's not going to hold up, so we got to keep trying.
Yeah, a lot of guys are struggling. Looked like the track was a little tight out there. Do you feel the same way about that?
Yeah, I think it was a lot better than people thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing on the track. A lot of tire shake and stuff. Of course, we see you doing some wiring issues out here now.
Yeah, I got a shifting problem with the automatic shifter, so we're putting a shift light in so we can manually shift the car.
And we seeing change a valve spring or two out there. Is that kind of normal with these engines, or?
Yeah, we generally try to check them between every run. And we actually broke an exhaust valve spring on that run, so we got it fixed, and we'll go out and try to make a better hit.
Of course, these cars are like women. They want all your time and all your money. But, Randy, you're going into the second session. We wish you luck, and thank you for being on Speed Scene Live.
Thank you very much.
And here's the run.
Here it is right here. The world's fastest El Camino Pro Mod. Check it out. It barely looks like an El Camino.
I know, that's true.
An El Camino?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's not the year I was thinking. That's not a 70 or 71. That's like later. That's like 73, isn't it? 73, 74?
74. That was the big
Yeah.
bumper car, and he's got the slope nose
Yeah,
on it in the
yeah.
S2 or S3 model.
Yeah, but he has whittled that thing down. And he actually started with a real El Camino at one
He did.
point.
And I remember
Wow.
him winning the El Camino Nationals up at LECR with a beautiful black El Camino.
Well, that's a really fast car, and I never had the opportunity to race that car. But one time at Terminal Island, I got the opportunity to race a bone stock Crosley.
Did you really?
I did.
Yes, I had that
Now-
experience myself.
Now, Bob, what's your gas about tonight?
Well, we're going to talk about a little compact gas. We're going to talk about the Crosleys. Hi, I'm Bob Beck, and you've got... What am I doing again? I'm Bob Beck, and you've got gas on Speed Scene Live.
You're giggling.
Back in the late 30s, Pal Crosley, who was an appliance manufacturer, decided he was going to get into the automobile business, and he wanted a nice, economical car for people to drive. It first came out in 1939, and for a mere $210,
Wow.
you could buy a Crosley. Now, at that point in time, it was powered by a 4-cylinder Waukesha air-cooled motor, basically a glorified big go-kart, or at that time, lawnmower motor.
Sure.
It had 2 main bearings, 4 cylinders, and a whopping 12 horsepower. Now, that car got people around, and, there's one example of them right there. The war broke out. And during that period of time, no automobile production was allowed. Pal was already making refrigerators and radios and generator sets. He came up with a program for the Navy called the Cobra, and it was a little overhead cam, 4-cylinder engine. It needed to be lightweight and portable, so they made it out of stamped steel. The block was steel. They brazed it together, and it ran. But the problem with steel being pressed into a cylinder and brazed up, it also created electrolysis and fast wear, and they'd rust out. They still use that engine after the war as the basis for the car. It was an overhead cam design, very light in weight, good horsepower per cubic inch, which it didn't have very many of, but it had 26.5 horsepower.
26.5!
Oh, and they found their way into midget race cars, and were really good, except the electrolysis problem kept coming up. So by the late 40s, they came up with a cast iron block and an overhead cam design, the first U.S.-made overhead cam designed 4-cylinder engine. And to go with it, they came out with the first U.S. production-based sports car. So he had a sports car back in the 40s. And when you talk about racing, so I went to Terminal Island at the Antique Nationals at LACR one time. I had a race, a Crosley Hot Shot with my Plymouth Coupe when I had the flathead in it. It took me to half track to catch that little thing. They would get up and go. That little motor was good. The car was a neat little piece. For those people that were economy-minded, this was the perfect vehicle for them. The problem was the car market boomed after World War II, but so did the prices for the metal and the raw materials. The price of a Crosley jumped to nearly $1,000, and by 1948, it cost you $929 for the station wagon. Now, they had the panel truck, so commercial companies could use it. And somehow I don't think those drawings are quite to scale. I don't think the guys were that small. But the cars sure were.
Oh, man. Well, the women were probably equally as pretty, although...
Oh, yeah.
The car, it looks a bit cartoony to me, Bob.
And it did, because it was the proportions were not really good. It had small, tiny tires. It was very economical. If you wanted a safety car, that was not the one to get.
You know, you mentioned that he made refrigerators and appliances, and that's kind of what it looks like to me, a refrigerator.
It's a refrigerator that turns on the side.
Probably about the size.
Yeah, toaster with windows.
Yes, it could be that too. Here's the dashboard. I mean, talk about Spartan Dash. Just a flat piece of sheet metal with a couple of ribs in it, and they put the gauges in, and it was all over-the-counter type pieces. Crosley did do his own sheet metal stampings. Now, this was a true American-made vehicle. They started manufacturing them in Indiana. They started out in Richmond, Indiana, and after the war, they moved to Marion, Indiana, but the engines were all assembled in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Huh.
Now, the cars were kind of neat. They are collectible at this point in time. People definitely go for these things. There was even one on the cover of Hot Rod magazine a decade or so ago that had a tube chassis and a Mazda rotary in it. Here's one of the hot shots, the little sports cars that I had trouble keeping up with.
It's maybe a little bit cuter than some of the sedans and
Looks like a Bug-Eye.
It does. Kind of, and it preceded the Bug-Eye by years. One of these cars was clocked at Le Mans. Yes, they entered Le Mans with it. There was a class for it.
Unbelievable.
In 1951, at the hair-raising speed, and especially in that car, 98.79 miles an hour.
Impressive.
Yeah. We're going like, 98, wow, I can do that in my regular car, but can you imagine someone wearing a helmet and racing something like that at 98 miles an hour?
A little tin can.
Yeah. Now, of course, hot rod ingenuity came to play, and you've got gassers and alters and all sorts of cars made out of the Crosley because the body was so light in weight. Well, the Crosley stayed in production through 1952 when they finally closed the doors. He kept making radios, but no more cars for the people at Crosley.
Man, what a piece of history. Actually, that's quite a long run for a car. I mean, you look at something, something like a Tucker, for instance, which barely got itself out the door.
They sold their 51 units, and that was it, and they went out of business.
Hey, I wonder if this is the Crosley, if this is the Cobra engine.
That is the Cobra engine. That's the cast iron block motor.
Okay.
That's an overhead cam design. Now, back in the day when they ran them in midget racers, they had speed parts for these things, believe it or not.
Is that right?
Thinned aluminum side covers and so forth. They really look neat. Here's the hot shot again. This is, doors down, ready to go racing.
Wow.
But the first American sports car made. Now, that is not the hot shot. That's got doors on it, so that was the Super Sport.
Oh, okay. So you say.
Yeah, so I say. Now, they also exported these cars to Britain. Now, in Britain, small cars work good, so they sold them in Britain, but they didn't want to call it a Crosley, so they called it the Crossmobile.
The Crossmobile.
Crossmobile. That's probably what happened to you when you drove it in traffic. You got very cross.
Yes. I believe the old versions have the nose like this, right?
Yes, that is the Ford. That's a 39, 40, 41 model.
Yeah. Wow, that is unbelievably
And look, they
primitive.
actually have 4 adults in the car. They were full-sized adults.
Well, people were much smaller back then, too.
And they had to be for that
Remember?
car, yes.
It kind of looks like you could fold it up and
Yeah.
put it in a suitcase.
Here's a pickup truck. Now, there was a guy that used to come out to Bob's Big Boy in Toluca Lake with one of these pickups, and he had one of the race motors mounted in the bed.
Oh, I was
As a
gonna
spare.
As
A spare motor.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was going to say, if everything was factory under there, he could probably drive that thing to Bob's Big Boy for like 5 years before he put any gas
There,
in.
it's it. Beto Trucking ran a sedan like that.
Huh.
And they put it on a tube chassis, ran it in the Nostalgia Eliminator categories at the Nostalgia Drags at Bakersfield and so forth. Did quite well with it. Pulled the body off, put an altered body on it. They went even quicker.
Well,
But I tell you, today, driving that down the street, you get attention compared
Yeah,
to all
you
the
would.
typical boxes going down the street.
You would definitely
Yeah.
get attention. Hopefully not the attention you don't want. But yes.
You'd probably get a lot of people asking you, what the heck
What
is
is
that
it?
thing?
Right.
Yeah. What is it and what happened to it? Well, you
Look,
can't wash it in hot water.
The license plate.
Yeah, look at
Daisy
that.
May.
Daisy May.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's cute in just a hideous way.
Now here's
Yeah.
one that actually raced.
Oh,
In the
okay.
Great
Yeah, the
Race.
Great American Race.
Great American Race.
Wait,
Drove
what
it
was that comment you made, Bruce? Cute in a hideous way?
Yes.
Kind of like a basset hound?
Yeah, sort of like
Yeah,
that.
kinda like
If
that.
you want to go up and do that, like that thing that we all do.
Can you imagine buying one of these as a family car?
Man.
You'd have to have a very small
Okay,
family.
yes, and they weren't going to get any bigger.
No.
But they had a full line of cars. You had the convertible, you had the station wagon, the pickup truck, the panel truck, and the sports car.
But it was an
$3.99.
affordable car.
It was affordable. It was
So
affordable.
what would it be comparable to nowadays, like a Kia or something?
No, kind of more like a Yugo.
Yugo's gone.
Yes,
Yugo
exactly
up and
right.
went.
Yeah, they were cheap. To equate this to something now, you'd probably have to go outside the U.S. India's got a car.
Suzuki.
Yeah, even smaller
Nano.
than the Suzuki, the Nano.
Leicar.
From the Leicar. Yeah, the Leicar. Well, but these were really cheap. And in India, they've got a car they put out now that's it's less than $3,000.
Wow.
But
Wow.
it has about the same amount of safety and features as the Crosley did.
By the
that's
way,
right.
if you can't read the text at the bottom, here's the lineup. Crosley sedan needs no introduction. Over 15,000 on the road. Constantly improved in both beauty and mechanical performance. Styled with an aircraft flavor. I don't see where that happens.
Yeah.
4-passenger for all-around use.
That's
Wow.
That's the sales pitch.
And
Hey,
Hey, I just got a...
Constantly improved.
I just got a post on thefote.com, and
Yeah.
Butch from ANRA says that they've got several Crosleys running in ANRA
Yes.
in the open wheel class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do. Because the normal wheel track on a car was so much wider than that, they could set the body between the tires. Even on a narrow rear end car. I mean, but Henry J's are used for gases because they were very lightweight. You could probably put one of these in a Henry J.
Wow. That's how small it is.
Seems like this would be fun to turn into an electric.
Yeah.
A small compact car.
Theoretically, you could. It's lightweight enough.
Lightweight, yeah.
I don't know what the exact weight on them was, but I'm imagining it was in the neighborhood of 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Put a few D-cell batteries in the
Yeah,
back.
That's right.
Here's a golf cart for you right there.
Yeah. It's actually about
Very
the same
retro.
size.
That
by
could
the
be
way.
something you could fit in your garage and you
Absolutely.
could have as a project.
A few
And
of
notice
them.
the little propeller on the front of this one.
That's the aircraft design.
There you go.
Not the speed indicator.
You found it.
Speed indicator.
Yeah,
we don't need no
found it.
stinking speedometer cables.
Yeah, and their biggest year was 1948. They sold 29,000 cars that year.
Wow.
The problem was, I think people caught on, and the following year they only sold 7,400, and it went down from there.
Oh, they kind of remind me. Some of the body styles reminded me of the Amphicar. Remember that?
Yeah, the Amphicar, yeah.
Who put that out?
That was a German manufacturer that put that car out, and they are highly desirable
I
and
love
collectible
those
at this
cars.
point in time.
Yeah, I've been in two in my life. My father's employer had one in Oregon, and my boss years ago when I worked for a dental office, and so I've been fortunate enough to go out into a lake in two.
And did it come back?
It did, and it stayed afloat. It drove right in, and
Yeah.
we paddled or puttered around the
Puttered
lake,
around,
and
yeah.
got right out.
Neither
State of
one
California-
sounds attractive.
Yeah, State of California loves them because you got to license them as a boat and a car, so you
Hey,
have to
more
pay double
money.
registration. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of more money, let's
Yes.
take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about Vocatomy. We're going to catch out the 10-5 winner at the NMCA Pomona race, and who knows? Who knows?
Who knows what? Anyway.
Hi, my name's Joe Lapone. I'm the driver of the Darrell Hubbard D-Bar-D Racing Pro Street Camaro National Record Holder car. And when I'm not driving and tuning that car and working with my great crew, I'm watching Speed Scene Live.
M&H Tires, makers of racing tires that give you the best bite for the buck. You paid a lot for that horsepower. Make sure you use it all. M&H Tires has the best compounds available for maximum traction. Go to mandhtires.com. That's mandhtires.com. Buy direct and save at the website and mention the Speed Scene for a 5% discount. That's right, mandhtires.com. Call them at 661-324-4773. M&H Tires has tech guys ready to answer your questions or to recommend the best tire for you. Slicks or DOT. M&H Tires has it all. M&H were the first to create racing tires for muscle cars and also the first to create racing tires for sport compact cars. Legendary M&H Tires. Shop online, mention the Speed Scene, and save 5%. Get the best racing tires, great personal service, and save 5%. Go to mandhtires.com or call them at 661-324-4773. MNHTires.com.
Everyone in the armed forces that has served to defend our great country and our freedom. All of us here in the United States of America would like to offer our sincere appreciation for all that you do and all that you've done. To every family that has made a sacrifice for us, we thank you. Welcome back to more of Speed Scene Live, the #1 online drag racing TV show. Brought to you by Curry Rear Ends, M&H Tires, Hedman Hustler Headers, and TheFolk.com.
Oh, yeah, and it's another Tuesday night. You're live with Diana Mike. We've got Scott Lucky Hudson here next to me. Well, we've got Gene Sherman. He's telling us all about his new shop and how exciting he is to get that open. We've got Bob Beck. He just gave us a little gas, and boy, do we need some air in here.
Is that what that is?
And of course, we've got Bruce Barker handling all the controls.
Hey, you know, we were talking about a big 10-5 race coming up this summer up at Woodburn, Oregon, $10,000 winner take all. This is the winner of the 10-5 naturally aspirated class, and I always talk about family and drag racing. Look at this group, the kids, the wife, the crew members, everybody. This is the coolest deal. In fact, I think I even talked to a couple of the kids right before. Here you are, you're at Pomona, the biggest race of the year. You won the race, you got the Wally, you're in front of your wife, your kids, your friends. It doesn't get any better than this.
Absolutely not. Can't be any sweeter. Finish the day with a win.
Any sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank Kevin from Unlimited with a new front spoiler we got from him. Like, we picked up about 2 miles an hour, and we were consistent all day, and consistency paid off.
Nice. And your wife, your 2 daughters, everybody's out here. You guys had a great time?
Fantastic time. Love the support. Makes it that much better when the family's here to celebrate it with you.
In your opinion of the NMCA West?
That's fantastic. I'll race it every time it comes out.
Nice. Thanks a lot. Congratulations. Is it anybody here, or is this your dad? Yours? What's your name?
Haley.
Did your dad do a good job today?
Yeah.
You guys are pretty...
Pretty proud of how he did. He's going to have a nice Wally trophy.
Yeah. Kayla.
Kayla, your dad's a driver. Any chance that you might be driving this car in the future?
I wish.
I bet you could talk him into it.
That is so funny.
You know, all she's got to do is say, Dad, I want to drive. And you know what? He's going to say no.
Any little girl just looks up at her daddy and says, Daddy, please.
Yeah, battles of lives.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Come on. Now, Gene, we were talking earlier in the show about you came from the college system, and I know you touched on your background a little bit, but what is it that you're most what are you best at? Are you a welder, a fabricator? What's your best thing? A machinist?
I try to have a description. I'm a machinist, but then I can run computer-controlled machines. I'm a fabricator, welder. Now, I do have a couple of black holes. It's easier to cover those. Electronics and carburetors. Those two things I still to this day don't understand. But if I have a specialty, it's metal and plastics. Milling machines, lathes, CNCs, welding fab. I love to design things. I've made something called a marker testing machine that literally tests Sharpie markers. Somebody has to. I've made parts for satellites. I've made parts for movie equipment, Panavision and such, and a lot of stuff I to this day can't really mention, but it was very cool to make, but mostly in metals. But then people come to me and say, they see my little shop and they said, I want access to this, but I want to learn woodworking. And I said, look, when this place opens up, I will be taking classes in my own place because I want to learn all these things.
Well, you know, I recently got the opportunity to actually spend some time around a really nice CNC machine, and it was all programmed ahead of time, and we put this little piece in there, and they said, okay, now push the button. And I hit the button, and it went through the whole program, and it changed bits and angles, and it's spraying lubricant, and it was the coolest thing to watch. And when it was all done, you open the door, and here's this perfectly machined piece. And I was so impressed. I mean, I'm used to guys using mills and lathes, and to just sit there. I mean, it was a 2-minute or a 3-minute process, and I think it changed bits 6 or 7 times.
Jeez.
It was incredible that there's technology out there that's available, and this is the kind of stuff you can teach people?
Absolutely. And what you don't see is the probably dozens of hours it took to get to that point. So granted, you have this new school machine, very electronic, very computer controlled, but you still need a set of old school skills, like what end mill to use, what speed to use, what coolant to use. All those things, you still need to know how to use a screwdriver before you can disassemble something. So it is crucial to teach both old and new skills. So you can't just come up to that machine and press a button. You can't feed it a blueprint. You have to take your idea, your sketch, and then put it into a computer, CAD it up on something called SolidWorks, a CAD program, put it through a CAM program, which then tells that machine what path to follow with what tool, but you still have to tell it what tool, how fast, how often, and that's when the magic happens.
So you're going to teach them the basics first. So
correct.
Basically learn how to walk before they run.
Absolutely. And my place will be open to guys with a ton of experience. We'll have, like, before you rent an airplane, you just go through a little checklist, and okay, you're a qualified pilot, step in, use our equipment with very little class training.
So a guy who's working on his car that needs to use a mill, for an example, to make that billet dash component.
Yes.
You go in there and
absolutely.
There you go.
Now, also keep in mind, what if that dash has electronics in it that the guy's not comfortable with?
Yeah.
There will be 16 and 18-year-olds in my place that are such electronic whizzes, we'll never catch up to them.
Yeah, kids
you know,
are
as fast as electronics are. I mean, like, people are putting phones, tablets into their cars and controlling their cars that way. So that's electronics is a big part of this world. And
I've seen iPhones used in a lot of different things where they make a mount and they put an iPhone, and now you're using the iPhone as a way to sort of monitor an area or film an area. And, you know, sometimes you see something, you go, wow, man, how did they think of that?
Yep. Yeah, well, and it's true. Even iPhones now are used, and I know, you know, the entire Google Android lineup is kind of the same thing, depending on what the application is. But for remote control flight, for a lot of these multiple rotor helicopters that are coming out now, and you're using your phone to fly the thing.
Well,
which is amazing.
you know, I've seen apps where you can check your blood pressure. You can blow into it. You can see if you're, you know, ready to go into a diabetic coma. They're even going in that avenue of medicine when it comes to iPhones and apps.
Absolutely. And look, and at my place, we'll be building those quad rotors.
Yeah.
There'll be a bunch of people putting together all their skill sets in plastic and metals and electronics and creating whatever it is. So I'm hoping someone comes up with the next big thing at our place.
So we're asking people, check out Vocademy.com. Maybe you're an adult that's looking to learn something new. Maybe you've got kids in school that you want them to somehow get involved and learn some skills that they can use in other places in their life. Maybe you've got a company that's saying, you know what, this is great. It's about time somebody stepped up and provided an opportunity for kids to learn this stuff. Right. I've got a company with air compressors or welders or CNC or whatever you've got. Maybe your company that sells metal and you'd like to donate a couple truckloads of metal to these guys. Anything that can help it out, because I've said this before about racers, and I'm never going to stop. People talk about racing, the future of racing. Well, the future's here right now. They're in school right now, and they're playing hopscotch, and they're playing video games, and they're watching TV. The future's here right now. What you got to do is you got to corral that future, get them in the right direction, and this is a great opportunity for people to do that. Grab those kids, put them in a school, put them in a curricula like this, and let them learn stuff. And, get kids excited about cars. Get kids excited about machining and motors and painting and whatever it is that they like. But expose them and let them find that passion. And, that's it, man. That's what the whole future of our industry.
It's true, Lucky, because not everybody out there is going to go to college. Yeah. We have a lot of people out there that love working with their hands. Mm-hmm. There's different sides of your brains that you utilize as you're growing up, and there's a lot of people that are more hands-on. These technology schools that they have, but this is perfect because it's exactly what you want to learn, and you can go in there, like you said, it's kind of like a gym. You slide your card, you go in there for so many hours. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
And if woodworking's not your thing, maybe metalworking is. If that's not your thing, how about welding? There's going to be a multitude of opportunities for not just kids, Lucky, but how about the guy that's retired? He's sitting at home. Maybe his wife passed away a few years ago. He has nothing to do but sit in front of a TV. Now he's going to have a place to go. How awesome would that be?
I want those guys. I call them my gray hairs. I want those guys in my place because they're a wealth of knowledge. They are so full of things, and we don't want that knowledge to disappear. So a lot of my instructors are literally going to be retired guys from industry with a ton of experience, and not being an official accredited school, my teachers are just people with a passion and that want to share that passion with people.
And those are probably the best teachers out there, really.
I can imagine a guy like that's just hanging out. Maybe he's doing woodworking and there's some kids there working on something, and he's going to be talking to them and helping them out. And, the whole thing sort of feeds on itself and becomes this whole environment of positive growth, and everybody gets a little bit better because of it.
And also, in one of those pictures you showed earlier, you noticed there was about 40% female. I want to make it perfectly clear that these machines, this technology does not care whether you're male or female, how old you are, where you're from. It cares that you're interested in using it. And the funny line I always give is, I don't care whether you make robots or dresses for robots. I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad you're doing it in my place. And also, the engineers. Yes, you're going to go get your engineering degree and you have a degree, but hands-on skills still matter. The best engineers I've ever met in my career are the ones that did what they did for work as a hobby too. The best aerospace engineers built model rockets and airplanes.
Sure.
The best word workers knew how to build a home the right way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we were talking about this, I think, right before the show, and then you mentioned as the show started about sewing, which kind of sounds a little bit out of kilter until you think about what very much of a car is made out of is upholstery materials. Correct. I learned how to sewing on convertible tops, trying to make them last a little longer after all the stitching started falling out of it. So, all these skills, they are so valuable, and of course now if a button falls off, well, hey, man, I'm good to go.
There you go.
Yeah.
You take care of yourself, huh?
Aw.
Unfortunately, he can only sew with like a 6-inch curved needle.
That's right, made from leather.
And it's the Popeil pocket sewing machine.
Hey, Ron Popeil, he's my hero.
But I tell you what, he got famous how? He invented things.
Things that would make you be able to, do stuff.
And that's what this country's good at. We're still the innovators of the world. What we're doing is we're taking away the tools people need to invent, and I'm trying to fix that problem.
I think it's a great idea. I think what we're looking for here is we're looking for people to come in. We're looking for those experts to fill your classrooms. We're looking for those students that want to learn from the experts, right?
Correct.
We're also looking for sponsors that are willing to bring forth their equipment to be utilized. And what's that going to do for them? Well, that's going to help them sell that equipment to those
Tremendous
students.
exposure.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win. And the schools, look, I'm talking to a university about sending me their students. This keeps them from having to build a machine shop.
Yeah.
Send them to me. I have the instructors.
Well, you know, it would be great once you get that shop up and running. Lucky, we should go there and we should maybe do a tour of everything. And then we could show it here on the show.
Maybe bring the Speed Scene Live cameras, do a little filming, interview some people, talk about hot rods,
make a couple of parts for the model for the for the Nova.
I would love to have
There you go.
Absolutely.
And Lucky, maybe you can take that golf cart down and pound out that fender, huh?
I thought I would just dent the other side, then they would match. That'd be easier.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. Well, as soon as I get that airbag setup done on the golf cart, I'll
I
be
don't think so.
Hey, you know what? It's been great hearing about Vocademy, but I think it's about time to talk about some of the events that are coming up. And I know that.
Well, I hear that music. That's my line, Lucky. That's what's going on. Brought to you by Curry Racing Rear Ends. Curry's got your rear end ready and waiting for you. You tell him Diana might send you, right, Lucky?
That's right, and we also want to thank Hedman Hustler headers. You know, we're running them on our cars. They're great headers, and they also have a great line of mufflers that you can use. A lot of tracks want to have mufflers now. They want you to quiet it down just a bit. So Hedman Headers has created a muffler where you can quiet it down and keep the power. Oh, yeah. DragRaceResults.com.
We can't forget about those guys. Absolutely. Thanks go out to them.
You want to know about where to go racing? You want to find out about all the big buck bracket bonanzas? That's the place to go. Check it out right there at DragRaceResults.com.
Well, let's not forget the 10-5 race. That's going to be July 26th and 27th at Woodburn. That's Woodburn in Oregon. 10 grand, last man standing.
And you know, that's a free entry, so make sure you pre-register your 10-5 car, and they're in the works to try to get some more funding for that, and maybe get some cool deals to where some, they could say #1 qualifier hosted by...
Sure, fastest car or something.
Yeah,
that's totally cool.
Hey, the 20th anniversary World Super Pro Challenge comes August 1st through the 4th at Mid-Michigan Motorplex.
And ANRA Summer Nationals, those are going to be August 23rd through the 25th. That's going to be up at the Famosa, right? Auto Club Raceway, Lucky?
That's right, and I'll be racing out there, running my car, and Diana might be burning those M&H tires on her car.
You know what? I might be backing you down the track. Let's see how that goes.
She might be in that lowered golf cart. Hey, we talked about it at the top. Next week, we're going to have Camo Man talking about the Virginia Street Outlaws. Well, they're going to have a race August 17th. Where? Well, I think it just might be Virginia.
August 24th, there's going to be a match race madness at Verona. Bob, you know a little bit about that, don't you?
Yeah, Steve Sherman, the Shermanator, is going to be putting it on. He's trying to get as many match race cars as he can get. He's got FX cars coming out in force, as well as him and a whole bunch of Fords and Chevys and Mopars going to try and battle that out.
Yeah.
Even Ernie the Attorney is going to bring out his Fairlane.
Wow.
Ernie the Attorney.
You know what? You can make a weekend of it. Go down there to Verona. They've got that fabulous casino. Hey, hit the dessert buffet for me.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Pigeon Forge, Shades of the Past car show. Probably the biggest car show I've ever been to. I'll be back there again September 6th and 7th.
You're just going because it's at Dollywood, Lucky.
Dollywood, Splash Mountain.
Yeah, you're just hoping to see Dolly, aren't you? I know how you are, Dolly Parton.
Well, I love all the parts of Tennessee. I love the people.
Even the Dolly parts.
Dolly parts.
Well, it's a great car show, and I hope you come on out and see me in the Curry Rear Ends Hedman Hustler booth. And right after that, where should I go then?
Well, you should go to the first ever New England Hot Rod Reunion. That's going to be September 12th through the 14th in Epping, New Hampshire. Boy, I'm excited about that one. That one's going to be all the way up north, so we're going to get all our friends from Canada coming down. We're going to get people from everywhere. So, hey, Canadian boys with your little accents, come on down. Say hi to Diana Might.
That's right, eh?
Hey.
Hey, October 11th through the 13th, the ANRA season finals. ANRA, that's where the season ends, but the fun doesn't stop there. No, you can go racing all year long out at Bakersfield. Now, we're going to be back next week, but before we go, Gene, have you got a Facebook page?
Yes, I do. Vocademy USA is our Facebook page. We'd love to see you there.
Okay, so they can they go to that page? Can they sign on, ask you questions, send you a
Absolutely.
message, get information if they want to know when the school opens, when they can attend, how to get
Correct.
to that?
And we hope to be open in early October.
Oh, wow,
And the more
soon.
help we have from our community, the faster we'll get there.
Wow, so early October, wouldn't that be a great Christmas gift, ladies, to buy your husband? How about the gift of knowledge?
How about the gift of getting his ass out of the house and leaving you alone?
Hey, that's what I had. You know, that was what I was really trying to say, but I was trying to be
can I
nice
say
about
that on
it.
the show? Oh, sorry.
She had them for better or for worse, but not for lunch and dinner.
And not, yeah.
So get out of the house.
You know, it's a great deal, Bob, and I hope people check it out.
This Wednesday night we're also going to be at Industry for the Speedway bikes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be there.
Is Donnie going to have his electric mixer? Because, he's just much more fun with that.
I'll be the designated operator.
He doesn't have to because they have 2 full bars.
Oh.
They have great Mexican
Oh,
food.
those
You can go
tacos, I
down.
remember.
Oh, it's really good. This is at Industry Hills Speedway, the city of Industry.
You know what? Great parking, great food, great drinks, great facility, covered, so you don't have to worry about rain, wind, sunshine in here in Southern California. Just go and have fun.
Nice.
Thursday night, One and Done returns to Irwindale.
There you have
the
it.
TV show from MAV back again.
Nice.
Awesome.
Are you going to be there, Bob?
I will be there this time. They're bringing me back this time.
You get to announce?
I get to announce.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Bob has a job.
I got a job again.
Yeah, showbiz.
I can pay the bills.
Well, Gene, thank you so much for coming in and telling us about Vocademy. It sounds like a great deal. You obviously have a lot of passion for it, and I'm just so happy to see somebody bringing people back into our industry.
Thank you. Thank you for being such gracious hosts, and I look forward to having you at my place so I can return the favor.
Nice. Well, you know what happens next? It's the encore presentation of Speed Scene Live. Thanks way too much for joining us for the live show tonight. We're going to be back next week with another one of these. We'll try to squeeze another 30 seconds into it, but hey, no promises. We'll see what happens. But thanks for joining us. Check out, of course, the advertisers right here on our Speed Scene Live homepage, sort of over that way if you're watching us right on the page. And by all means, check out the YouTube channel with Speed Scene Live if you want to check out any of the shows that might have dropped off our regular archive lineup.
Hey, Bruce, they can actually subscribe to that YouTube channel.
That is true.
And, we got a bunch of subscribers now, but we would love to have more. So if you get a chance, visit our YouTube channel, subscribe. Tons of stuff there.
That's right. All right, the encore's up next. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Speed Scene Live TV, the #1 online motorsports TV show. Brought to you by Curry Racing Rear Ends, M&H Tires, and TheFoat.com.